In 4D space, time is simply another direction. Where shall we travel? Up, down, left, right, forwards, reverse, or at 90 degrees to reality? What direction will the winds of fate take us? What time will random happenstance send us to? Who cares? What is the meaning of life? Does it have a meaning? Does it need a meaning? Does a rock need motivation to be a rock? Does a tree require purpose? Why are we here? Do we serve a greater purpose beyond the pleasure or satisfaction we get from our daily activities, however mundane or heroic they may be? Is the meaning of life internal to life, to be found inherently in life's many activities, or is it external, to be found in a realm somehow outside of life, but to which life leads? In the internal view, it's the satisfaction and happiness we gain from our actions that justify life. This does not necessarily imply selfish code of conduct. The external interpretation commonly makes the claim that there is a realm to which life leads after death. Our life on earth is evaluated by a supernatural being some call God, who will assign to us some reward or punishment after death. The meaning of our life, its purpose and justification, is to fulfill the expectations of God, and then to receive our final reward. But within the internal view of meaning, we can argue that meaning is best found in activities that benefit others, the community, or the earth as a whole. It's just that the reward for these activities has to be found here, in the satisfactions that they afford within this life, instead of in some external spirit realm. A problem with this question is that it is not clear what sort of answer is being looked for. One common rephrasing is, what is it that makes life worth living? There are any number of subjective answers to this question. Think of all the reasons why you are glad you are alive, assuming you are, and there is the meaning of your life. Some have attempted to answer this question in a more objective way, that is to have an idea of what constitutes the good life. It seems reasonable to say that some ways of living are not conducive to human flourishing. However, I am not convinced that there is one right way to live. To suggest that there is demonstrates not so much arrogance as a lack of imagination. My message to you is this. Rejoice in the fact that you are aware of your existence, against all the odds in this most hostile universe, where this tiny planet in a quiet corner of a mundane galaxy amidst billions of other galaxies is the only place which we know of, where you are permitted to continue to exist at all.
He's still full of crap.
Pretentious bullshit.
Who's that telephoning at this time of night? Hi there, Rock. I'm ready to roll. Yeah? Yeah? Yes? She said what? You don't say. Yeah? Yes? Yeah? You don't say. You don't say. Said what? Yeah? Yeah? She said what? I think that time is the most misunderstood aspect of reality. This is because physicists have concluded time is emergent and the universe somehow exists in a timeless state. According to this view, time is a dimension to be traveled in backwards and forwards, but we have no evidence this is true. We have only experienced time travel in one direction, from the past to the future. We cannot go back in time. Whilst we appear to be able to imagine being frozen in time, or going back in the past, the thing is, we need time to go forward and do any of these things. Time is the resource that allows things to happen. The problem with a universe in which time is frozen is that it requires 4 assumptions to be made. The first is that the origin of the universe is required to be almost perfectly ordered at the Big Bang. The second is that the second law of thermodynamics must emerge from this order at the beginning. The third is that time must be an emergent property. Finally, causality itself must be emergent. We have no reason to believe any of these assumptions are correct, but all 4 of these assumptions can be replaced with just one, more intuitive claim that time is fundamental. Fundamental time removes the need for order at the Big Bang. It removes the need for an explicit second law of thermodynamics or for causality itself to emerge. Generally speaking, a theory is stronger the fewer assumptions it needs to make. That is the great advantage of time fundamentalism. Moreover, seeing time as fundamental has the advantage that it tallies with our own experience. Where does my intuition for time and space come from? I think I remember being born and experiencing the transition from time into space. This does seem ludicrous, because no one can remember back that far. When I was younger, I kept having a reoccurring dream. I was trapped in a place between many black bricks. I was squeezed into nothing between these black bricks, this nothingness a total void. I felt trapped, unable to breathe, in total darkness, totally constrained, unable to move anything, yet aware. Then suddenly, I remember being pushed to the light. I could move, there was space, I had found the world in space, but still, I do remember the before, the awareness of nothing in nothing. If it is space that is emergent, then the origin of the universe, the Big Bang, is merely the point in time where space emerged from time. The difficulty in imagining a universe where only time existed first is very hard, but I wonder if it is worth playing with the idea. If time is a thing, an entity, a kind of virtual escalator that keeps producing an infinite number of steps all going in one direction, would that explain our reality? Is the basis of reality time? Could reality just be time? A universe that is built from time could certainly help explain many things. If it is space that is emergent, then the origin of the universe, the Big Bang, is merely the point in time where space emerged from time. But it was not the beginning of time itself, something much harder to make sense of. The idea of the block universe that dominates contemporary theoretical physics, a timeless universe, as I like to call it, confronts us with a profound problem, because it is entirely deterministic and allows no room for novelty, and is entirely deterministic. What I mean by this is that in principle, if you had a large enough computer and could input the initial conditions, then the universe would automatically unfold, as predicted, and you could slide forward and backwards in time in the universe just by moving on the time axis. According to the concept of the block universe, the past, present, and future all exist equally and simultaneously as an unchanging and eternal block of time. From this point of view, time is not something that flows or passes by, but rather is an unchanging dimension that already contains the entirety of the past, present, and future. Every event, from the Big Bang to the end of the universe, already exists within this block, and our perception of time, as a linear progression, is an illusion. This view of time, also known as eternalism, is often contrasted with presentism, which holds that only the present moment truly exists and that the past and future are, respectively, just memories or predictions. In contrast, the block universe view holds that there is no objective distinction between the present, past, and future. They all exist equally within the block of time. The block universe concept is closely related to Einstein's theory of relativity, which suggests that the passage of time can vary depending on an observer's position and motion in space. It provides a way to reconcile the seemingly different experiences of time between different observers. The implications of the block universe view are significant, particularly in the realm of free will and determinism. If the future already exists, then it would seem to imply that our choices and actions are predetermined, and that the illusion of free will is just that, an illusion. The biggest problem with a timeless universe is that it's not able to predict the emergence of life, and more broadly, has no room for the generation of true novelty. Novelty cannot be predicted even in principle and hence cannot exist in the block universe. I think even pure mathematics can give us hints about the fundamental nature of time. For instance, I wonder if the fact that the discovery of prime numbers, as we enumerate through integers, is related to time. We cannot know if the next number in the sequence is prime ahead of time until we check. This is because to find new prime numbers you must count through number space, and this requires resource, time. So, can prime numbers exist independent of the time required to produce them? I think this is not possible. I would say that prime numbers are mathematical objects that have a depth in time and that depth is related to the resource, that is, the time required to generate that prime number. Could it be that evidence of novelty is evidence of the reality of time? I think the existence of novelty and life in the universe is a strong indication that time is fundamental. But is it possible to quantify novelty in time? I think the theory developed to quantify the complexity of molecules, assembly theory, might be able to quantify novelty. Assembly theory shows that for any given complex molecule, the lack of symmetry can be captured in its complexity if the molecule can be detected in abundance. Assembly theory, therefore, helps us understand how complex molecules might be produced in prebiotic, biotic, and further work. Molecules with high assembly indexes have depth in time, that is, they required a machinery to build them from scratch, and this machinery has a historical contingency. Could it be that evidence of novelty is evidence of the reality of time? The fact our small region of the universe is able to generate seemingly endless novel forms and creations, from evolutionary forms to culture, technology, and social systems. My hypothesis is that novelty requires time to be real, such that the future is intrinsically open, as there are simply more options for new things in the future than the past. Could this mean that the reality of time is testable? I think so. The challenge for science is to explore the unpredictability of the future, that is, the generation of novelty that could not, even in principle, be predicted by knowledge of the past. The quantification of novelty will unlock our understanding of time. The consequences of time being fundamental are far-reaching. The expanding region of space we call the universe might not die in a heat death, as thermodynamics tells us it will, but space itself will cease to exist once all matter is spread out in countless of trillions of years. Once time ceases to measure events in space, or, more precisely, when events that rely on the past no longer occur, then space itself will cease to exist. Causality is evidenced by the existence of space. When we reach a point in the universe when nothing is happening, when there are no longer any causal connections between events, the physical universe ceases to exist. What is the meaning of life? Is the purpose of being? What is the point of living? What is the value of seeing? How can a life have meaning? When everything you have built is broken, how can you carry on? When nothing you feel can be spoken, where does the journey trend? When does the pain have an end? How can you see the light? Through the darkest of night, where can you find consolation? If there is no future salvation, how can life carry on? When everything you loved is gone. What is the meaning of life? Is the purpose of being? What is the point of living? What is the value of seeing? How can a life have meaning? When everything you have built is broken, how can you carry on? When nothing you feel can be spoken, where does the journey trend? When does the pain have an end? How can you see the light? Through the darkest of night, where can you find consolation? If there is no future salvation, how can life carry on? When everything you loved is gone. What does it matter? The shining light. Jupiter and Saturn conjoined tonight. Empires rise and empires fall. It makes no difference to anything at all. The sun will rise. The sun will set. The rock is hard. The water is wet. Night follows day. It cycles on. My son is dead. My boy is gone. What does it matter? The shining light. Jupiter and Saturn conjoin tonight. Empires rise and empires fall. It makes no difference to anything at all. The sun will rise. The sun will set. The rock is hard. The water is wet. Night follows day. It cycles on. My son is dead. My boy is gone. What does it matter? What does it matter? I suppose you are owed some sort of explanation. His album is a pile of poo. I apologize for subjecting you to that, if you watched and listened all the way through. But it was just something I had to do. I can't explain it, I just had to do it. I'll try to do better next time. If you didn't like it, that's fine. I don't like it either.